Go inside the Crimson Tide with your hosts Rodney Orr and Gary Harris, keeping you informed on everything Alabama. And now, Tider Insider TV.
To the players that are coming back, get ready for the challenges of the future, and let everybody know that we're not finished yet.
That's the way he closed out a speech on Saturday at the championship parade and championship celebration, Rodney. And I'm telling you what, that got a huge ovation right there. People, hey, before we go over there, I just got to say something. I got to get back to the locker room, man. Is this one new?
No, I've had it for 2 or 3 years. Still looks good, doesn't it?
Tell you, that's sharp right there. Locker room, home of the original elephant wear. I'll be going by to get, well, we can't get too many of the same ones because we wear on the same night. We catch so much grief for it. Good evening, everybody. Welcome into another edition of Tider Insider TV, presented each and every week by Buffalo Rock. Alongside Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com, I'm WVUA 23 Sports Director Gary Harris. And Buffalo Rock, bottlers of Pepsi, a Southern original from Buffalo Rock. Listen to that sound right there. I tell you what, that sounds good, but it's nothing to that taste when it's going down. And I know people are saying, well, he said he was on the diet, keep Pepsi kick. Why is he back with regular Pepsi? Well, 30 days into the fitness program, I'm down 6 pounds, so I decided to give myself a little celebratory,
there you go,
full-leaded Pepsi tonight, Rod. You know, you got to have those little rewards every now and then to keep you pushed. We got a lot to talk about, though. People are tired of me talking about myself. Let's get on to this past Saturday. The University of Alabama campus was flooded with Crimson Tide fans. I mean, around 40,000 for the 5th National Championship celebration of the Nick Saban era. The team, along with a $1 million band, cheerleaders, and support staff, paraded down University Boulevard, up the Walk of Champions. We had it live here on WVUA 23, and then onto the steps in front of Bryant-Denny Stadium as Alabama was presented with the National Championship trophy. The Coach's Trophy, the Sugar Bowl Trophy, and, of course, like I said, the National Championship Trophy. They got all those trophies at one time. But as you heard Coach Saban say, he wants to make sure people understand Alabama is not finished yet. And, Rod, if the Tide hopes to have another parade again this time next year, it will be with some big changes on the coaching staff. Now, we addressed some of the turnover in last week's Tider Insider TV, but let's kind of catch the viewers up with the latest. Rodney, all that is official at this point as far as new hires is Jeff Banks as special teams coordinator from Texas A&M. Other than that, we only have speculation and reports of guys that are going to be hired. We think we've got a pretty good idea, but again, Coach Saban and Alabama have sent out nothing official. What's the latest you're hearing?
Well,
let's start with offense.
Yeah.
Mike Locksley, how about that?
Mike Locksley obviously sounds like he is the next offensive coordinator replacing Brian Dable. And again, Gary, we've talked about him last week. He has a reputation as an offensive coordinator. Did a good job at Illinois. Had a couple of teams that led the Big Ten in rushing. Had one that led the Big Ten in passing. You know, we know he's a great recruiter as well. And again, a very innovative guy offensively. He's known for an up-tempo offense. So I think if it's Mike Locksley, which we fully expect him to be named the guy, I think certainly that's the natural progression for him. He was the co-offensive coordinator. I think with his familiarity with all the players, I don't really think they'll miss a beat.
And, Rodney, we also believe that Josh Gaddis from Penn State is coming in to be the co-offensive coordinators and co-offensive coordinator and wide receivers coach. Again, nothing official, but we think that's pretty much already done.
Did a great job at Penn State with James Franklin up there. Gary, he's not only noted for his development of the wide receivers. He's done an outstanding job of recruiting for them. And I think when you look at the changes that Alabama will eventually, when they get this staff put together, you're going to see a really strong recruiting staff.
And on defense, it looks like we're going to have co-coordinators as well, Rod.
Very possibly. Tosh LaPoy obviously was the guy last year that was the co-offensive defensive coordinator under Jeremy Pruitt. There you see Tosh right there. There's a good chance that we could see him calling the defense next year, Gary. Pete Golding also brought in from UT San Antonio, who probably, if you look at it now, will coach the inside linebackers. And again, we're guessing right now. There's nothing official. Golding did a great job at UTSA. We talked about how he really developed their defense over 2 years, took them from 101 in the country to a top 5 defense. And in the secondary, Carl Scott, who was at Texas Tech, their safeties coach, he's the guy that's being reported as coming in to take over the secondary, so we'll see.
All right, we do expect some official announcements coming from UA soon. Of course, I said that last week. we're still waiting. All right, let's switch gears to basketball. The Crimson Tide is starting to show some of the promise that we all expected them to have before the season started. Alabama's riding a 4-game SEC win streak heading into tonight's contest at Ole Miss, and the last 2 wins were without star freshman point guard Colin Sexton. Alabama is only a game out of first place in the SEC, but Avery Johnson still wants to see even more from his basketball team.
I just think there's another level or two for us to go to before we reach our maximum potential, and we're just not there yet.
A lot of teams have already hit their potential, and us, I think he says we still have like 2 or 3 more levels we can reach. So, I mean, that's good news to hear because, I mean, we're still playing very, very good basketball, but the fact that we can get better is even better.
And they can get a lot better. And, you know, they're still kind of trying to find a rotation. They've had some injuries, the latest being Sexton. But 4 wins in a row, Rodney, in the SEC is a big deal. One of those over Auburn, which came in with, you know, a national 17 ranking, only 1 loss on the season. Now, 3 of those wins were at home. The only road win in that group was at LSU. Tonight, they're back on the road at Ole Miss. This is a place that's given Alabama a lot of trouble. Ole Miss is not real strong inside, but they shoot the 3. They change defenses on you. Another big test for the Tide tonight.
Well, first of all, you've got to win the home games.
Right, yeah, and they're doing that.
That's extremely important. And then, you know, going on the road, if you can steal a couple here and there, certainly that would be big as well, Gary. And, you know, talking about how this team now all of a sudden kind of hitting a little bit of a stride. We've talked about the youth. Sometimes it takes time for everyone to develop and get on the same page in the chemistry. So looks like maybe they're hitting their stride a little bit.
I hope Sexton can play tonight and get back on the floor for a little bit because Saturday, you know who comes to town? Oklahoma and Trae Young. And I'm like everybody else. As a fan, I want to see Colin Sexton against Trae Young on Saturday afternoon. So hopefully Colin will be in the lineup tonight. We'll have highlights from that game, Alabama at Ole Miss, coming up for you on WVUA 23 News at 10. Well, still to come tonight on Tider Insider Television. We'll head south to Mobile for Senior Bowl Media Day. Senior Bowl festivities kicked off today in the Port City, and we'll have all of the action, including the Crimson Tide seniors that are there participating when we come back. Plus, we'll be getting your phone calls, emails, and tweets. As always, the number 205-348-WVUA. That's 348-9882. Or you can email us at the address on your screen or tweet at us using that hashtag TITV. Use the hashtag so Bethany can find it, and we'll try to get your tweets on the air. We want to hear from you on TITV. We're back after this. 4 Alabama players are taking part in this week's on-field practices at the Senior Bowl. Levi Wallace, Bradley Bozeman, Deshaun Hand, and J.K. Scott are on the South team, and they'll play in the game on Saturday, while Sean Dion Hamilton is at the Senior Bowl, but obviously he won't participate as he continues to work his way back from season-ending knee surgery, but he is there talking with coaches, scouts, and talent evaluators. And there's John Harbaugh right there from the Baltimore Ravens. Welcome back into Tider Insider TV. Once again, Alabama is expected to have a lot of players drafted in the early rounds, but the Senior Bowl, as you know, Rodney, is a good opportunity for sometimes some of the lesser heralded NFL prospects to make a statement in front of all the people that matter, scouts, general managers, and coaches. Tider Insider TV's Brandon Kamerman there today with Zach Tigert, and Brandon caught up with Alabama punter J.K. Scott at today's practice.
Gary, I'm here with J.K. Scott just following South's practice at the Senior Bowl at Ladd Peoples Stadium. And your first practice here, what was it like not hearing maybe Scott Cochran, Coach Saban, and some of your coaches from Alabama?
Oh, it was a little different. You know, Coach Cochran brings a lot of energy. It's really loud. It's really fun to practice with him, but it's also a good opportunity to just meet some new guys, meet some new coaches, and it's been a lot of fun.
I think a lot of people will look out and see you practicing with Daniel Carlson, a couple of Auburn guys. What's that like?
Well, you know, we really haven't talked much about that rivalry because we connect so much, you know, just being kickers and punters. And me and Daniel are very similar, you know, type guys. So we've just had a really great time getting to know each other.
What are you hoping to get out of this process over the next week and then beyond that?
Number one is just continue to improve, continue to just kick and do my thing, have fun. It's fun building relationships with these coaches and scouts and stuff, so, and just the other players, so just continue to do that.
As a punter, people have seen so much from you on film, but what do you hope they see from you maybe that they haven't seen over the past 4 years at Alabama?
I just want people to know that there's more to me than just punting. I know that God's got a plan for my life beyond punting, and Jesus loves you, man. So Yeah.
Is there anything that the coaches from Alabama, kind of advice they gave you through this process?
They just kind of said, you know, keep doing your thing, stick to your routine, because I'm consistent when I'm in my routine, so just those types of things.
Good luck. Thanks so much, JK. Back to you, Gary.
Thank you, Brandon, and J.K. Scott going to have an opportunity to punt in the National Football League. In fact, Rodney, as I said, Alabama going to have a bunch of players drafted early. Probably numerous first-round picks and second-round picks. But let's talk about the 5 players specifically in Mobile, all seniors. Bradley Bozeman, Levi Wallace, J.K. Scott, Deshaun Hand, and Sean Dion Hamilton. You know, all different positions, different types of players. But of those, you know, those 5 guys, you think all of them will have an opportunity maybe to carve out successful NFL careers?
Well, yeah, I think they certainly will. You know, you really never know, Gary. I mean, when you look at those guys, I'm sure Sean Dion Hamilton, he's probably not been able to do too much right now.
He's not.
You know, when you look at all those guys, certainly very talented player. I mean, Deshaun Hand, he was the #1 player coming out of high school in the country. Bradley Bozeman, how he's developed himself, Gary. We saw the success Ryan Kelly had. You remember a couple of years ago when we were really concerned about the biggest loss on the team being Ryan Kelly. And it wasn't that he wasn't a big loss, because he was, but you almost forgot about it shortly after the season got going because Bradley Bozeman performed so well. Extremely strong, big guy. I think he's got a chance to be a really good player.
Yeah, I think Deshaun Hand, there he is, #9 again, at the 3 technique in the NFL has a chance to be outstanding. I mean, this is a guy that's long-armed, can rush the passer, strong enough at well over 280 pounds to set the edge against the run. I think as good as he was at Alabama, I think his best football is in front of him. And as far as Bradley Bozeman, whether he's drafted or not, he'll be in a camp. And I just think Bradley Bozeman is one of those guys that coaches love. You know what I mean, Rodney?
Yeah.
He's just as hard-nosed, got a little bit of a mean streak. I'm with you. I think all 5 of these guys will have a chance to play in the National Football League. Well, still to come, an update on the Alabama women's basketball team coming off a big comeback win at home. And next, your phone calls, emails, and tweets. Again, the information right there on your screen. Give us a call now. Bethany's waiting to line you up on the phones at 205-348-9882. You can email us, TITV@WVUA23.com, or you can tweet at us. We'll talk to you next, right here on Tider Insider Television. The Crimson Tide women's basketball team snapped a 2-game losing streak on Sunday at home, coming back against Vanderbilt 77-75. The Tide trailed by 5 at the break, but outscored the Commodores 24-14 in the third en route to a SEC victory. They're 4-3 in the conference. They'll go back on the road to Lexington to take on Kentucky on Thursday night. They're looking pretty good. Welcome back in. Let's head straight to the phone lines. Our phone lines being sponsored, as always, by Daniel Moore's New Life Art. And you know that pass from Tua to Smith is coming soon. All right, let's go to the New Life Hotline and welcome in our pal Sammy from Walker County, the Tomato Man. What's up, Sammy?
Thanks, Gary. Thanks, Rodney. Always glad to be talking to y'all guys. My question was, Rodney and Gary, tell us the remaining scholarships or targets that they will have. Who will they target, if y'all know some information? Enlighten us. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, Sammy, listen, they signed 15 in the early signing period. They can sign 23, so that means they have 8. They have several prospects they're looking at. I can throw some names at you to really keep an eye on. I'd start out on offense at wide receiver. I really think Justin Ross out of Phoenix City Central, Jalen Waddle out of Texas are 2 outstanding players to keep an eye on. Nicholas Pettit-Ferrer is an outstanding offensive lineman from Tampa, Florida, who was here this past weekend, had a great visit. I think Alabama will probably take a quarterback. James Foster out of Sidney Lanier down in Montgomery was here this weekend. And also Brock Purdy out of Arizona is another guy to keep an eye on. He'll be visiting this weekend. The guy accounted for 67 touchdowns this past year. So he's a guy to watch on the defensive side. 2 defensive linemen to really keep an eye on. Malik Langham out of Huntsville Lee. He visited last weekend. I think Alabama's in great shape with him. Bobby Brown's committed out of Arlington, Texas, another outstanding defensive lineman. And I think, Gary, obviously in the secondary, that's a real high priority. Patrick Surtain was here, the elite cornerback out of Plantation, Florida. His teammate, Tyson Campbell, another elite cornerback, same high school. He's a guy to watch as well.
All right, good call, Sammy. Let's go to Stephen in Northport. Welcome in, Stephen. How are you?
Oh, doing good. Hey, love the shirts tonight, guys.
Thank you, man.
Let me ask you a question. I know there's a lot of basketball to be played between now and the March Madness, but what I want to ask, does the committee consider how well you finish the season, like right now we're projected a 10th seed, and if, say, we move that up to a 5th, would they consider putting us in a better region like the South region or somewhere closer to home just due to drawings or because of how we played, or they just throw it up in a hat?
No, I think everything matters, Stephen. I think how you play late. If you're a team that's hot at the end and you're making a move up in the RPI or in the rankings, I think your chances of getting a favorable seed and favorable region for you are increased. No doubt about it. I do think that they take geography into consideration for the higher seeds. Maybe not necessarily when you're a late seed. It just kind of works out that you go where they put you. But yeah, I think all those things are factors. And as far as moving up in the rankings, I'll tell you this: if you win at Ole Miss tonight and then you beat Oklahoma in here on Saturday, Oklahoma currently a top 5 team. Now they're playing Kansas tonight, but you could be back in that top 25 in a hurry. All right, let's go to BT right here in Tuscaloosa. BT, what's up?
Hey Gary, how y'all doing, Gary and Rodney?
All right, bro. What's up, man?
What I want to ask you is, what's the update on Colin Sexton and I think the basketball team's playing really well right now. We just got to keep moving forward.
Yeah, BT, they do, and we're not going to know on Colin Sexton, quite frankly, until the starting lineup is released tonight over in Oxford. He'll either be in it or he won't be. Yes, I guess there's a chance they could bring him in off the bench, but it's a game-time decision, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Avery has played it close to the vest. We won't know until the game tonight, really, if he's going to play. So that's all I can tell you. That abdominal injury is, I guess, think about it. If you're got pulled muscle or something in your abs and you're running and jumping like he is, it could be an issue. But hopefully he'll be good to go soon. All right, we got an email right here, and this is also a basketball question. All right, Auburn basketball, 5-42 at Coleman Coliseum. Rusty, we cover Alabama more than we do Auburn. Auburn's having a great year, I will tell you that. They have not had great success at Coleman Coliseum. Lost here last Wednesday night. Some issues there off the court, but I really can't tell you. I mean, I think Bruce Pearl's done a nice job there. Just have to wait and see.
Well,
I'm not qualified to comment.
Really difficult to complain.
Yeah. All right. Tell you what, phone lines are open. This is rare. I know the national championship celebration is over, but phone lines are open. Call in 205-348-9882. We'll be back with more Tighter Insider TV. Get in now if you want to get on the phone lines. They're open. We'll be back after this. Here's some history. For the first time ever, the Alabama soccer program has had a woman drafted in the National Women's Soccer League. Celia Jimenez Delgado was selected in the 4th round of the NWSL draft by the Seattle Reign Football Club. The All-SEC standout was one of 4 conference players selected in this year's draft, but as I said, the first from Alabama. She's number 7 in the video. Way to go, Celia. That's good stuff. All right, let's get right back to the phone lines. Our New Life Art Hotline, presented by Daniel Moore. Jim is in Northport. Hey, Jim, welcome into the program. How are you? Jim, you with us? Jim, you there? Listen, turn your TV down if you can. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Jim. All right, you're going to have a delay now unless you turn your TV down. All right, I think Jim's having some issues there. He wants to know about Ben Davis. We get quite a few questions on Ben. I was able to interview him at the media day down in New Orleans before the Sugar Bowl because all players are available to the media. And I think feels like next year is going to be a big year for him. Redshirt freshman. He'll be a redshirt sophomore. Played a little bit toward the end of the season. He's big. He's strong. And I think he's been patient. And if you're willing to wait your turn in Nick Saban's system, it usually pays off for you.
Yeah. And Gary, a lot of that is development. And I think when you look at Ben Davis, he's a guy that came in here now. He's having an opportunity to get bigger, get stronger. He's outside now as a pass rush type guy. So I think maybe that fits him well.
All right, Jim, thanks for the phone call. Yeah, folks, we got a little bit of a delay. So if you have your TV up loud, we're going to not be talking in the same time that you're listening to us. Bethany, where are we going? All right, let's stay here in Tuscaloosa and talk with Mark. Mark, welcome into the program. How are you, buddy? Mark. Okay, Mark, all right, we're having some phone issues, but he wanted to know about another guy that was briefly, I guess, signed to the program. Kendall Jones, the Hulk, has moved on to other places, and everybody wants to know if he's coming back to Alabama. My answer is, Rodney, and you can expand, is I doubt it.
Yeah, no, I don't see Hulk Jones as part of the program. Again, he was committed to a couple 3 years ago, and had to end up going to junior college. And honestly, I don't even know if he's still in football, to be honest. I know he did go JUCO, so.
All right, let's go to line 3. Let's hope the third time's a charm. Robert Addison, are you there, buddy?
Yeah.
All right, Robert, way to go. What's up, man?
I just want to know what happened to that recruit for Dick Saban recruited that didn't make it. You remember he had the Paris background last year.
Jerez Parks.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
Jerez Parks is here, bud. He's just like the plan. He sat out. He enrolled as soon as the fall semester was over, was here, able to practice, not practice in New Orleans or Atlanta, but practice here in Tuscaloosa, and he's looking forward to his freshman season.
Yep, he was very highly recruited. He gray-shirted, so that means he set out. He accepted that last year. And the Paris connection, he's talking about where he announced his decision. Yeah, he did the video in Paris.
Yeah, it was pretty fancy.
Yeah.
But give Jerez Parks some credit because he could have gone to a lot of other places and played this past year. But he wanted to be at Alabama, and that's probably pretty smart thinking on his part. All right, thanks for the phone calls and the emails and the tweets tonight. Still to come, we expect a quarterback competition in spring ball this year. And Jalen Hurts, maybe he's doing the reverse. Samson cut his locks and he lost his power. Maybe Jalen's hoping to get some extra power. We'll have the story coming up next. When Jalen Hurts makes a promise, he keeps it. After making a deal with teammates to cut off his dreadlocks if the Crimson Tide won the national championship, he did that. How about that? He's clean cut and ready to go for 2018. We're ready to go too. Somebody called in earlier and commented on our shirts. If you like these beautiful original elephant shirts and ties, you can get them at the Locker Room in downtown Tuscaloosa, home of the original elephant wear and a lot of other great men's and women's wear as well. Get by and see them in person, shop in store, or you can shop online as well at locker-room.biz. All right, we were scheduled to go to Buddy's last Tuesday night for dinner, but because of the ice, we pushed it back to tonight. So we'll be at Buddy's Rib and Steak in Northport in about 15 minutes. So come and join us if you want to talk some football. That's going to do it for the show. For Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. So long. Have a great night, everybody.